So the question, what's it like, is what we ask here all the time. And usually we try to concentrate on questions that you would not normally feel comfortable asking. In this case, what's it like to be a colleague of Pat McMahon and have to come into the television studio to answer questions like this? This is my director from my morning live television show on AZTV. This is Craig Jackson. And I thank you for coming down, even though you knew what the question was going to be, and that is, what's it like being a black man in a white city?
It's a beautiful thing. It's wonderful, especially when Barack Obama was elected president.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of white people who are writing messages to the newspaper, writing letters, sending comments to the computer saying it's the worst decision that's ever been made. Do you get the impression that, I can't say white America, but that a lot of the resistance, since you brought it up, the resistance to Obama is because he's black or because they just disagree with him politically?
I think it's a combination of both. I think him being black doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't help, but it doesn't help the situation, especially with him being a Democrat. I don't think, especially in a state like this, a Republican-dominated state.
Western United States, though, is the white half of the country.
Okay.
Whether it's Colorado, Utah, Nevada, whatever. You can't even compare the diversity with Pennsylvania and Ohio. Where did you come from?
Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. I don't know that you necessarily know the exact percentage of African Americans in that town at that time, but it's a lot more than here, isn't
Definitely, without a doubt.
Okay. Is this the whitest community that you ever lived in?
Wow, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You act like you never thought about that.
Never thought about it. No, I haven't.
Is that a matter of your attitude?
Upbringing, attitude, yeah, definitely.
Tell me about your upbringing, about race and your upbringing.
Well, being reared in Toledo, Ohio by my mother and father, I was raised to understand my history. Our history as black people. It kind of took precedence over even school as a kid. I found it so interesting. I learned about people like, one of their big heroes was Paul Robeson, Old Man River. But if you really learn about Paul Robeson, he was such a great American, such a great man. And people like that just really inspired me, Rosa Parks. And they taught me a lot about those individuals.
Why didn't you grow up resenting whites?
I imagine I probably did at one point. My mother and father, mother born in 1919, father born in 1916. Father was reared in Mississippi. My mother was born in Missouri. And some of the horror stories that they grew up with, I don't know if I resented white people, but I was definitely afraid of white people.
Did you ever have any horror stories yourself? Have you, since you've been here, for example, been harassed? Have you had difficulties with law enforcement?
I have. I was ordered to get into a car about 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, about 4 years ago, a police officer pulled into my apartment complex, and he was chasing an individual, and he saw me standing there. So he jumps off of his motorcycle and says, "Gotcha." I'm like, "You got what?" "You got nothing. I'm just standing here." "Get in the car." So when I resisted, he said, "Get up against the car. I'm locking you up."
Was he looking for somebody that looked like you?
I think so. It'd be hard to mix me up with a white guy, I think.
All right, but the fact is that there are people who are not sure what the appearance is of the suspect, and they see a black guy there. Oh, it must be him.
Very true.
When you have that kind of an experience, then what are your overall feelings about race relations then?
It doesn't bother me too much. I think the thing that bothers me more is things like Trayvon Martin. Like today, I was really sitting there thinking about your commentary and the compassion that we have for victims who are bullied and harassed. But for Trayvon Martin, he was harassed, bullied, and ultimately killed by his bully. And that compassion didn't exist in our country. And I wonder to myself, why is that? But we have to continue on. We still have to push forward. I still have to be proud of Barack Obama being president in the United States of America. So it fills me with a lot of pride and a lot of hope.
I had absolutely no idea, as many days as I've spent with this gentleman, what he was going to say, but I'm glad he said it on this program as profoundly and as eloquently as he did. This is Craig Jackson, and he's our neighbor here in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's my guest on What's It Like?